What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So as y'all know, I have been playing older games recently, and one game I've been having a great time with, I think I've been playing it a bit too much, that is going to be Midnight Club Los Angeles. Now, it has probably been around maybe, you know what, it might have actually been like 15 years since I have played this game, and jumping back into it, guys, there really was something so dang special about Midnight Club in general. I am going to be doing videos on Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix, so stay tuned for that. I am still searching for a copy of it for the PS2, but once I get it, I will definitely be making a video on that game because playing Los Angeles really made me think about this franchise, and honestly, I kind of wish they really would bring it back. We all do know that it's probably not going to happen because Rockstar is most likely and well obviously going to be working on Grand Theft Auto 6, but can we all agree though if they were to maybe remaster something along the lines of Midnight Club Los Angeles or even bring back some of the older ones, I bet right now so many people would buy it and it would most likely shake up the entire racing genre. The reason for that is playing MCLA recently, guys, I don't know, it's the entire vibe and everything this game gives off, which I am going to have more videos on some of these topics and stuff. The overall gameplay and design of Midnight Club Los Angeles really is going to be so dang great because it captures what many players want in a racing game, or I guess you could say like the entire atmosphere, the way they have it set up. I mean, heck, I am pretty sure the entire map of Los Angeles, I could be wrong in the game itself. I'm probably going to be fairly accurate, but someone mentioned it was going to be almost a 1-1 scale of the real map. It is legit going to be so accurate to the real one. There's going to be Best Buy and stuff in there. I saw something about MTV. So yeah, it is most likely going to be very similar to the real map of LA, which I would say if you have been playing Grand Theft Auto, go back to Midnight Club, then you're probably going to recognize the map pretty well, but also notice probably what it would end up looking like because we all do know Los Santos is technically not the real Los Angeles. Now, besides all of that, though, we're all going to agree that the gameplay in MCLA, even to this day, guys, here in 2025, is still going to be basically untouched. I mean, heck, most of the customization stuff you can do in this game, you can't even do in newer ones. For example, on the SUV you guys see me using in the background, I ended up making the tires tiny on it, and it really does look hilarious. I'll show like a small clip of that when I was getting a photo of it. It really does look funny, but what other games can you actually do something like that in, man? The customization, the way you can really do things to your cars and stuff like that, the vibe. You can put hydraulics on like a lowrider, go drive around with your friends or cruise around with them. You can then jump into something like an SUV. I do wish there was more SUVs. I do know in Dub Edition Remix there was going to be a lot more trucks and SUVs, where Midnight Club Los Angeles really doesn't have much of any. I think there's only one of them, I believe, now that I think about it. We're then also going to have, I think the main vehicles are tuners, exotics, SUVs, and motorcycles. So there is going to be a nice difference there of vehicles you can drive. Tuners, I would say most players would love. And then we're also going to have SUVs here and there to cruise around in. You're then going to have motorcycles, which I'm a huge fan of. I love them in MCLA. I even made a separate video about the motorcycles, which I will leave a tag on the screen for that if you guys want to check it out. Even to this day, somehow this game is doing motorcycles better than any other game besides Need for Speed Unbound. I think that game captured it pretty well. And it is kind of funny because you look back at a game from 2008, bro, and you see all the great things it did. And even right now, you can still see the great things it's doing. If only they'd bring the game back, I feel like players would absolutely love it. Imagine having online lobbies and stuff on PS5 and next gen. I do understand that you can have the backwards compatibility on the Xbox with it, which I think online works still. I do know on PS3 the online was closed down, so you can't get the Audi R8 and stuff. Would be kind of dope to see some of that return. But even with that being said, though, when you are playing a game like this, you're probably going to have like that underground racing vibe or something like the older Need for Speed games, which you know what, though, is honestly kind of hilarious because I feel like Midnight Club Los Angeles did Need for Speed better than basically any of the newer ones. I would say modern, maybe something like 2015, maybe Need for Speed Heat. But even then, though, a lot of the things people are looking for in Need for Speed, I feel like Unbound had some good things about it as well. But a lot of players are looking for some crazy, weird customization on their vehicles, a good or decent map they can drive around on, and then mess around with their friends, have a good variety of vehicles. That's what most people are probably looking for. If you can actually have something like the customization of Midnight Club Los Angeles, the vibe of this game, having the car list of something like Forza, a bigger map and stuff, maybe like the Crew 2. I know I'm probably naming off the most perfect game ever, which we all do know isn't going to happen, but imagine something like that, guys. Imagine the customization, the vibe of Midnight Club Los Angeles, storytelling in this aspect, We're also then going to have something along the lines of a map like the Crew 2 or something. Then we're going to have the car list similar to Forza, man. Can you all imagine that for a second, bro? Again, I do understand that's not going to happen, but man, that would be the craziest racing game ever. Now, we all do know you're probably going to have to make compromises and stuff because every game is going to have its flaws or certain things about it. I would say one thing I was seeing people talking about on MCLA, and this will end up coming down to a couple of different things. For one, guys, I was seeing a lot of people talking about the overall difficulty of the game when you get farther into it. Like, for example, the dub races doing some of the hardest events are honestly pretty dang insane, and you are most likely going to struggle a bit, especially going against the AI. Doesn't matter if you're going to have some of the fastest cars in the game, so are they, and they're also going to let you know about it. On top of all of that, one thing I was seeing, again, I did mention this in the other video, is I don't know how true this is, but apparently this game was supposed to have a lot more cars and stuff in it. That was a rumor. Like, if you guys think back to Dub Edition Remix, which I will end up doing videos on this again, but kind of got to find a copy of it because it seems pretty difficult. I do know back then they were going to have the Supra, there was choppers, all kinds of crazy cars in that game. I do understand MCLA definitely missed out on many of those vehicles. You can tell that many of them aren't in there. I mean, heck, there's going to be, what, like 3 motorcycles total? One SUV, there's going to be a good amount of tuners, some exotics. So the overall car list in this game, I would say, is probably going to be a flaw to people. There definitely could have been more of them. Now imagine most of those vehicles being in this game. I feel like players probably would have freaked out or got so dang excited. Who knows? Maybe it might happen in the future, but the overall licensing thing in gaming really is going to be fairly interesting. And I'm guessing one thing I was saying to my friend about a week ago is I was like, well, maybe do that. This might sound dumb, but do you actually think the reason why a lot of those cars were in MCLA is because the same year MCLA came out, Grand Theft Auto 4 released? So maybe they were putting all their resources into that. I'm not really sure. That's probably wrong, but kind of just like a weird theory on my part when it does come to that stuff. Because I do know a lot of players loved MCLA, guys. For me, the only flaw I would maybe say with this game is probably going to be the car list. Besides that, I loved every aspect of MCLA. I love the map. I love the graphics in the game. I thought everything looked great. Riding the motorcycles is so dang fun. Tuners are going to have a fun driving style. Muscle vehicles. Oh, I forgot about Muscle. Nice. Muscle is also going to have a fun aspect to them where they're going to be really powerful on straightaways or something. We're then going to have exotics that are just insanely quick. So it's still going to offer a good amount of things in there. A lot of fun vehicles. The customization is bonkers. You can make your tires super big. You can make your rims super big, super tiny. You can lower the car. You can raise it up. Like, there is legit so many things you can do to your vehicles, and that's probably something players do want. Even in the new games going over like the customization, players are going to be a fan of that stuff. And I feel like we really should try to hit on that a bit more in the newer games and all that. But who knows? Maybe some of the newer games can't do something like lowering the car down, having tiny tires on it. Maybe all of that comes down to a licensing thing. I don't really know on that stuff. But it does kind of make you wonder because when you are playing through something like MCLA or like, yo, look at this, this is dope. Really had a great time exploring the map, going through LA, seeing how realistic it is in a lot of ways, at least the map design. Really gives you like a great vibe. I love the sunny part of it. Nighttime racing is dope. I really do like how a lot of the maps also designed for shortcuts and stuff like that, which is going to be a thing in the series. I would say it's going to make you really think like, should I go that way? If I go this way, I can cut through this alleyway or go through this building, jump through this mall or something. Maybe beat the racer at the end of this event if I take that shortcut if they miss it. There's so many different things to think about when you are playing MCLA, which we all do know can be a problem. If you're doing 200 and something miles an hour and there's a shortcut, you're probably going to miss it, man. Ask me how I know because we've all been there. That's also why probably my favorite overall special ability in the game is easily going to be Zone, because maybe you might overjump or something. Maybe you go too fast around a corner, you know it. Maybe you're not going to make that turn, or maybe you almost miss something, hit Zone. You can kind of get the car in line to where it needs to go. I feel like that's probably going to be something many players used, and they most likely absolutely loved it. And you know what? I just thought about this as well, guys. I missed another class that was going to be luxury. For some odd reason, I'm forgetting about some of these, but luxury was also going to be a pretty dope one. Again, there wasn't going to be a ton of cars in this, but I really did like driving the Mercedes Dub Edition. That, I think it was the S600 or whatever. That car was absolutely insane. It was kind of funny to me that Rockstar did manage to capture the way the cars handled differently, or, you know, in different classes, you can kind of tell that you weren't driving the same vehicle, or like every car doesn't have the exact exact same handling model, just tweaked slightly. You know what I mean? You can kind of tell that you're going to be driving a luxury vehicle, the way it handles or the way that it's going to look and stuff like that, the way that it feels on the road. I thought that was a pretty dope thing they did end up doing. And I feel like some of the newer games might end up going along the lines of, okay, well, let's have all the cars on the same model or something. We change them around a bit. That's probably going to be faster. But I would rather the cars feel a tad different when you're using it, like you're going to be aware of it, right? That is something I feel like players probably look for. But using something like the Mercedes in races, funny part is, guys, even doing that was fairly difficult. I was going through some of the races on medium, and the Audi R8 kept passing me. I was also always getting passed by a Corvette. Don't get me wrong, I did win a lot of the races, or most of them. I had to restart here and there, which is kind of a trend in the game because the AI traffic in this game is hilarious. They'll basically drive in front of you, or you're probably going to be doing 180 miles an hour down the road. You cross a red light, and yeah, that's kind of your fault. So you run into the traffic, yell at them, even though you broke the law and ran into them. Kind of how it goes in a game, though, when you're going 200 miles an hour. But even then, though, you're still going to be able to beat the AI, probably restarting a bit, maybe not messing up in one area or taking a different shortcut and stuff like that, and then driving a different vehicle might help a bit. But I did want to use the luxury vehicles also, and on top of that, the SUVs, trying to get in line with them. And they were both going to be insanely fun, man. Just jumping back onto MCLA, going through the different vehicles, I've been getting very addicted to this game, playing it more. It really is going to be such a dang vibe. Speaking of that, the last thing I did want to mention, I did end up jumping into the Corvette C6, guys. I never drove it back in the day. And this is a car I did want to drive because I do know in a lot of games, for example, we did see this thing in Need for Speed Pro Street, was going to be very good on that game. I do know in Need for Speed Shift, I think it was on there, might have to check it. And I did want to try this thing out on Midnight Club Los Angeles. Once I did end up beating the game, basically everything is free. So I'm like, all right, let me try this car. Let me try this one. For example, guys, another good one of this is going to be the Cobra concept. That thing is fantastic. With that, I was like, okay, let me try the Corvette C6. So the first thing I did is I bought the car, maxed it out, went onto the highway with it, guys. I was doing some highway runs, probably one of my favorite things to do in this game for some odd reason. I don't know if that's going to be the vibe of Midnight Club or whatever this game offers, but flying down the highway doing around 220 miles an hour in the C6 was going to be so dang intense. I'm glad I did end up having some of the zones on me because sometimes when you're trying to weave in and out of traffic, I was noticing the C6 tends to be like a little twitchy in some areas, so gonna want to be a bit careful with it, guys. But man, going so fast on the highway is so dang entertaining. If you add on top of all of that, then messing around with your friends on this game, or messing around with different cars and stuff like that, Midnight Club really is going to be so dang goated. I do know, once again, Rockstar is probably never going to do it, but the overall feeling of Midnight Club really is incredible. I'm probably going to make more videos on this, going over some other things I did end up noticing. I gotta admit, guys, I really do think Midnight Club, if it was to come out today, again, they don't even need to remaster it, bro. Just put on Midnight Club on PS5, open the servers back up. I guarantee you would probably get so dang full with so many people in it. Probably how it most likely currently is on Xbox. I do think the multiplayer's on. Let me know in the comments. But if we actually had this game come back or something on PS5, that would be insane. Rockstar would make so much money if they brought back the older Midnight Clubs. Like, it would be no doubt in my mind that players would easily buy them. Do let me know your thoughts on MCLA in the comments. What do you guys think made this game so dang special? And I'm guessing many of the people commenting are probably going to have a lot of positive things to say about Midnight Club Los Angeles. And the reason for that is I really haven't seen much of anything negative about it, as I did end up mentioning earlier. Funny part is I could probably keep rambling on about this game, guys, but I am going to be planning more content for it in the near future.